here they are on the third map, our two Terran players in the first best of 3 of the day. To the bottom left of the map, in the red color, we have our MVP player who was just able to tie the series. It is...
MVP King.
17 years old, really strong player for the MVP team, and he is just getting better and better. Sometimes he has a little bit of a problem that he can't show his A game, but he stabilizes a lot. A very stable player by now. To the top right in the blue, his opponent, former GSL champion. This is the Slayers player.
Slayers MMA.
MMA always a strong face in the StarCraft II scene. Ever since the Slayers team made their debut in GSL, and you know, from then on, he just kind of rose through the ranks a little bit, started trashing foreign events, man, making foreigners look bad, and just always has been a presence. I feel like his weakest moment was his 0-4 defeat in the Super Tournament Finals. But, you know, again, in Korea, he has not shown what his fans want to see. To put it bluntly, he has not been able to play the best games possible. He looked a little bit vulnerable in that last game, never able to deal with Keen's harassment. We'll see how these two compositions collide. Neither player going run Rax expand in the third and final game, wanting to be aggressive, wanting to be safe. I think we're going to see probably Banshee expands from both of these guys. We may see a similar Keen build where he tries to open Reactor Hellions a little bit, get some Hellions out on the map to pressure, but otherwise I think we'll see some Banshee play.
Keen and nice scouting here. He starts straight away with this with the second supply depot and denies scouting, whereas Keen was able to sneak SCV in the main base of his opponent. He did not lose the SCV, is able to run away from the Marine. And, well, at this point, therefore, not all that many information for MMA.
Yeah, MMA in the dark here. He's not going to know his opponent is teching to factory here. They're both going to factories at very similar time. He's Keen slightly edging out a lead in that regard. Kept his SCV alive. He's going to go home with it now. Meanwhile, the Marine is checking around the map for it, just making sure there's no proxy starport, as MMA, since he doesn't have that scouting information, he needs to do little scouting techniques like this, and he will actually find the SCV. Escapes, though. In the middle of the map, he almost caught that SCV, damages it slightly, but it will go home.
We have a little bit of a deviation in build orders. We have the second gas for Keen. MMA decides to not take the second refinery, therefore we won't see Cloak by MMA, but Keen might just well go for it. Might just well go for Cloak Banshee Harass here.
Yeah, he may. In fact, with the second gas, as you mentioned, I think it's very likely he will.
He drops the starport right away, right next to the to his factory, and well,
when you know your opponent is going for tech and he doesn't know that you're going for tech, Cloak Banshee play is a pretty cool choice to make because, well, this SCV for Keen will get taken out. But if your opponent doesn't know what you're doing, he may assume you're going for one Rax expand. If he doesn't assume it, then that's what the Cloak is for, where you can still at least save your Banshee and probably do some damage even if he has a Viking out right away. So we'll see exactly what happens here. If MMA also goes Banshees but without Cloak, that's going to be a tough position for him.
He's building Hellion, so we will definitely see a medevac, and there it is already.
Yeah, no tech lab going down for him. MMA doing a very Slayers-esque move here. This is something the Slayers team is known for. 2 Hellion Marine drops, sometimes with 3 Hellions.
It's actually a pretty nice position that Keen set up here. We just saw that on the screen. All these Marines are guarding the entrance and trying to catch those Hellions as soon as they try to move in, but
there's Cloak.
Not doing anything like it. That's the Cloak and also the expansion. So he's going for the Banshee, going for the Cloak, trying to expand behind it. Well, we don't have an expansion for MMA just yet. He's currently relying on this medevac, is even building a Viking to take the Banshee apart. But let's see how much this drop is able to achieve.
Here's the problem, Cutter. He does not have any turrets. He has no eBay. He has no second orbital. So his scans are going to be his saving grace if he is to have one. This 3 Hellion drop could potentially do a lot, but Keen has already positioned himself well on the edge here.
Does not move out with the Banshee. He knows that he has been scanned already, I think, and just now decides to move out. We'll probably retreat again.
Oh, drops in for a scout, stays outside. Pretty good trade. Remember though, Keen's command center is far ahead. Only now is MMA's command center getting like halfway done. It is being made on the low ground, so that may give him a chance to kind of catch up in that regard, depending on how long Keen stays on the high ground. Keen, I feel, being a little bit too defensive here. He is sending his Banshee out now, but it's very, very late. Did not hit his timing he wanted to hit with that. There are Marines and a Viking in the main base, and he's saving scan energy. He's got 100 energy saved up. He's about to have that second orbital. We'll see how much this Banshee can do. To be honest, Keldor, with that much energy saved... Oh, he just used it! He dropped double mules, so I'm giving him maybe perhaps
getting the missile turret right now. He dropped an engineering bay as soon as he spotted the Banshee. But here comes the first one, and we have a second one to the left side of the map. The expansion will be delayed at this point, and this is so important for Keen.
The command center at 99 out of 100 build time. Literally 1 in-game second away from finishing. This is pretty significant.
And he really delayed it by a lot. Is he able to take down the SCV?
Oh
no,
man, he almost does.
But the second Banshee moves in now, sees the turret though, and retreats. So he has really a good option of getting a bit aggressive.
He wants him to scan, man. He so wants him to scan. He's like sitting on top of these units, and he's not scanning, so he's like, well, I guess I'll just fight.
He knows that there's no energy. I think he spotted it with his Banshee in the main base.
Well, now he certainly has for sure, and he's killing a lot of workers. He's killing a lot of Marines at the natural as well. Gets out of there, doing so much damage. MMA in a lot of trouble, yet again unable to deal with the harassment from Keen.
And this is crazy. Keen found the sweet spot in the main base as well, positioned his Banshee, and by now he took down not only a few Marines, but 9 SCVs as well. And he still has a live and kicking Banshee. There has to be another scan.
Two Banshees with 12 hit points, one at the natural, one at the main.
Finally one of them dies as it runs out of energy.
Only when it ran out of energy.
But 11 kills, 11 SCV kills in total. Keen is like the Harris commander at this point.
Yeah,
this is really like crazy. He in the last game and this game, he was so focused on taking down the economy of his opponent. He did such a great job. Those Banshees were microed perfectly.
Keen will cloak his, I guess, potentially 4th Banshee here that's coming in now to do a little bit further harassment. Now, something else we have not mentioned is Keen has made a 3rd command center, is going into Marine Tank again, whereas MMA is meching it once more, trying to get that mech composition up, which he feels to be the strongest, and almost gets a Viking there.
The Banshee died, though. Just died.
Yep.
He had to use his 2nd scan, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure.
I believe you're right.
We didn't really see it on the screen, so I'm not quite sure that it was still the 1st scan, but I think he used the 2nd one.
I think you're right. I think it was the 2nd one, because the 1st one didn't do as much as he needed.
And that is just so bad for
He's
MMA.
going to force another one here too.
Did not only lose all these SCVs, another scan. And this is just so worth it in the long run, because MMA can't rely on mules at this point.
But because the position here is so good for MMA, he's now able to siege up on the edge, and he will potentially be able to stop Banshee production by taking out this tech lab. A great position here as well with his Vikings.
Supply blocked at this point, taking down the supply depot. This is really, really troublesome for Keen now. Great position for MMA, and he has to do something like this. He definitely has to do some damage now.
And he is doing it. He's going to take out one of the refineries for sure. SCV is not even repairing.
Oh, wait, another Banshee heads out, takes down a siege tanker, tries to. Will he be able to pull it off though?
He doesn't have any
siege tank dies.
There he goes, drops a scan, but one siege tank does fall. A fairly even trade, and the units lost though. Keen definitely with a lot more units lost. He's committed so much with these Banshees. I mean, the units lost tab doesn't say everything though, because if you look at resources mined, you'll see that Keen has mined a lot more because he's not lost the SCVs that his opponent has. He's not lost the mules with the scans. Yep. So those are things that do not show on that tab, and he's definitely mined a lot more.
Exactly. This is definitely key here. Not only, as we pointed out, did his opponent lose 12 SCVs, but it's also about the mules that he lost the mining time when he pulled the SCVs off. But now here's the job play, and MMA, he tries to be aggressive here. He drops into the main base, and he slowly but steadily puts on more aggression. He tries to siege up.
Oh,
here.
That was a cool drop. Picks off the siege tank, then picks up his tanks to keep them alive. Great positioning here from MMA. This is something you would expect from the Prince, you know, the King of Boxer, or Son of Boxer, if you will. I'm saying everything incorrectly today.
Don't mess it up here. We have a Marine Prince.
I know. I'm gotta watch out for that.
Stim for both of them. This time there's no mech play involved. We have +1/+1 combat shield and stim at roughly the same time. 170 overall supply against 112 in favor of Keen, by the way, who still has a lead in Harvesters with 55 to 46.
Again, the composition varies so much. That's why MMA is able to do what he's doing here.
And I think we have the 3rd orbital is only here for Keen at this point.
He's the only one.
3 orbitals, and this also helps him a lot with scanning, with mules, and MMA there for a bit behind.
Yeah, it helps him build that working count up a little bit higher as well. All right, it looks like Keen is going to try to end the reign of terror here. He does not have any stim. He's using the SCVs to tank shots. Beautiful control on his SCVs. He's like,
here.
He actually dodged siege tank fire with his SCVs. Great job by Keen. Breaks out. Very minimal losses.
He's still in the lead. He's still in the Harvester lead with 51 to 46.
Great control on his SCVs. I cannot, I mean, there's a difference between pulling your SCVs and running in with them and pulling your SCVs like Keen just did. A lot of his Marines very low on hit points, though. In fact, several of them less than 5 hit points, so 1 or 2 siege tank volleys will put MMA back on the table here.
And guys, the thing is, now that he crushed this contain attempt, this pressure by MMA, he can move out with a 3rd orbital, so he has 3 bases suddenly that he can saturate, where he can call down mules and use SCVs, and he's on the move. He's still in the supply lead.
I don't like this move out, though. He's got all of his units are so low on hit points, and he is about to walk into a trap. Okay, he pulls back at the last second, but
and if he scans now, and he does,
he forces a cancel on an orbital. He's already sieging up and hitting the main base. There is a drop going off for MMA in the main base. There's a turret, though.
That drop is being repelled, and at the 3rd base, there's an opening, and he takes it, but already the units for Keen on the move. SCVs, they retreat, and here come the Marines. They stim in and take down the drop of MMA with the help of the siege tank.
Keen needs to move his medevacs over to his Marines in the north. They need healing badly. If they're not healed, they will all eventually die just via misposition, by MMA deciding to go for it when he sees how low hit points they are. If he sees that, he will absolutely take advantage of it at this point. Both players, basically, even on upgrades, getting their +1 armor at the exact same moment.
MMA is just now getting his 3rd base, and he's sending out a Viking. Oh my god, did he just lose the drop? It looks like. He sends out a medivac and tries to drop again to the top left, but the problem is the Marines see it, they run in and take it down, and MMA is already behind with 50 supply. When we talked about the matches before they started, we really said that we both expected MMA to take this, even though Keen showed great results in the past. But MMA, he's a former champion, and he is just such a great player as well. But, well, the youngster, basically, the more unexperienced player, is in such a great lead that I think I have no idea what MMA can do in order to get back into this game.
It's virtually impossible. Every harassment attempt has been shut down. MMA even altered his composition from mech back into more Marine tank because he wanted to have that more mobile, more aggressive option. And
he
now
still doesn't have a 3rd.
Yeah, he has no 3rd. He has a 3rd orbital just now finishing up here. He's got a ton of energy he's not using right now.
There's the Doom drop coming.
Yep, this could potentially be bad.
He's moving in, and he drops onto the siege tanks of his opponent. Moves in with everything he has.
This is the best MMA could hope for, in fact, with his siege tanks already in defensive position, and he will clean up everything.
He crushed it.
That was the best he could have hoped for, man. I bet he's really happy with how that drop went, even cleaning up the medevac here.
Oh, yeah. MMA just was able to close the gap in supply just, well, not entirely, but he definitely made sure that his opponent is not ahead with 7
There
supply
were some situations where it's good to drop on siege tanks like that, and there are bad times, and I feel this was a bad time.
Actually, I think he would have done a lot more damage if he didn't try to siege up.
Yeah.
Just use, if you want to drop, I mean, dropping onto the siege tanks, maybe not the best choice. Just drop into the main base, try to flank from the left or the right side, and open up another flank so that your opponent has to split his smaller army, and then you can get an opening. But if you don't do that, don't siege up, because, well, he lost so much time where his tanks didn't do anything.
You know, in this game versus the last one, I feel like last game Keen just harassed the entire time and was not aggressive like this. This game he's being slightly too aggressive, but even so, he's trading so well that MMA still struggles here, despite his engagements that he's won. He won a lot of defensive engagements, and Keen, he doesn't need to be attacking necessarily as heavily as he is. He should have been denying the 3rd, I think, more heavily, because now with that big attack, he lost too many units. He could no longer deny MMA's 3rd. MMA has a 3rd now. They're both on 3 bases, though, and Keen's had his for much longer. Should probably be taking a 4th base at this point. Even so, MMA now positioning himself very well to defend, but that's all he can do, defend. He can no longer be aggressive right now. He needs to max out. I wonder if he's going to alter his composition at all. He is getting +1 for vehicle weapons. You know, when it's Marine tank against Marine tank, that is the hardest TBT composition battle to alter your composition. Like if you're both going Marine tank, how can you switch your composition? You just won't. If you try, you'll die in most cases.
Keen is still in a position where he can dominate the pace of the game. We have him on 200 supply against 160 on 3 bases.
Oh, great position for MMA.
MMA once again able to get the better position here.
Oh, beautiful position for him. He's going to clean up so many of these units. The medevacs are all going to die.
Oh, no, now we have the reinforcements.
Yeah, the reinforcements. Make me mistaken. They're all going to die. No, they're all fine.
This is just really, really close. I expect MMA to just pull. I expect MMA to any moment pull off another ingenious move and just close the gap in supply entirely.
Yeah,
Keen is a little bit too over-eager.
He is over-eager, exactly, man. He is about to attack into siege tanks again, potentially. He keeps scanning, and he is just dying to stim in when the tanks are on siege, but that's exactly what MMA is hoping for as he slowly moves forward here.
He knows that MMA is just an experienced great player, that if he gives him an opening, that he might lose the game, and he knows about his lead, so he just wants to take it right now.
They're both dancing around this sensor tower right now. Keen moving around one side, he's spotted, moves back on the other side, he's doing it! He decides to stim in while the tanks are on siege. A great defensive position for MMA. Will he have enough? He does have +1 on these siege tanks, and it is enough.
Keen is really, really too over-eager here. He does not even research +3, even though he has the better economy or had for the entire time. He just tries to end the game.
Yeah, he is. Right now, the siege tank count 9 to 8, very, very similar. The Marine count 54 to 31, but the 3-3 upgrades are going to come into play a little bit faster for MMA, as you were mentioning. And Keen is taking a 4th base now. Finally, it's landing over on the right side of the map, but MMA is doing the same.
Exactly.
And so Keen is no longer going to have this economic advantage that he had early on. He's making a planetary as well.
The positioning by MMA is beautiful. He has Marines everywhere. He has the sensor towers. He's just making sure that he's not caught off by surprise with his pants down here.
Finally, Keen gets the better position on him for the first time this game.
At the 3rd base, able to force a liftoff here.
Yep.
He still has a huge lead in supply, but he really has to make sure that he... This is still a game that he can lose.
Yeah.
It's not like he has a huge lead, but he didn't win the game yet.
This is the best aggressive position he's had so far. Even able to take some SCVs out, retreat with his Marines now, forcing MMA to back off again. He can no longer safely mine with the position he's got on him. A little bit of harassment over here for MMA, showing the planetary actually paying off. Keen with a huge 2nd squad, though, going to attack the planetary that's forming for MMA. MMA cannot defend that location and his 3rd base location. If he tries, he'll be spread too thin. He's going to have to make a choice here. And Keen actually decides to engage the main army. He's being a little bit indecisive. Now he's got a great siege up position. Not only a defensive position against the main army of MMA, but also can start sieging away at that planetary. And oh my god, Kaldor, this drop could be the end of MMA.
This is actually what I expected when I saw the first 4 medivacs earlier on, and then he decided to drop on the tanks of his opponent. This is what I expected back then, a drop in the main base, and now he's doing it.
Keen is doing it indeed. MMA way out of position to defend this. He's even dropping the siege tanks in here.
Dropping the siege tanks, forcing a lift off the main command center, and now he's just killing the production.
He's killing the production, he's going to kill this orbital, and he's even going to trade well against MMA's army with the siege tank support he has here.
Indeed, indeed.
He's going to take out so many depots. Look at the supply, 169 over 121.
He has lost so many supply depots already. He's heavily supply blocked.
2nd wave coming
Moving in. The siege tanks of MMA are getting obliterated here. Well, they take down most of the Marines, but still a numbers game in favor of Keen, and he still has the better economy, and he is going to take this game, I think.
I feel like Keen in this game played the mid to late game almost like a ZVT in this TVT. Just kept trading armies, kept attacking.
It was a bit shaky.
He just kept trying to push through armies, and eventually he did.
He did try to pull through, and then he finally found an opening. He dropped into the main base, and MMA, he was behind for a long time.
He will clean up these tanks, but it's not going to be enough. He's just not even trading well with these tanks.
He's still supply blocked, heavily supply blocked at that. 176 supply against 113. He still has a ton of gas. He has the minerals. He has 4 bases. And this is really bad for MMA. He was behind nearly the entire game, and he's struggling. Keen now in a perfect position to end this in his favor. The +3 armor upgrade is finishing in just a few seconds. He's already on +3 attack, and now trying to take down the whole production in MMA's main base.
Yep. It's I don't know why. I mean, Keen, I obviously he wants that code S spot, but I just cannot see him pulling anything out here. I mean, excuse me, MMA. Today, man, I am just not on the ball. I don't know what it is. I think I need another coffee, but at this point, Keen has the production facility sieged. He has a huge second wave coming across the map. What can MMA do? He has the planetary mining, which he only needs minerals at this point. He's not even mining gas from there. He's not even dropping his mules, though, to get the minerals he needs.
He's like getting the second attack upgrade. He's getting everything that he needs. He has 70 supply advantage. He still has 1,400 minerals. He has a ton of gas. He can position. He can trade units. This is what he does. He is moving in again, forces another liftoff, and he takes down the orbital.
Starting to drop mules. And rightfully so. This game is so won by him. There's absolutely nothing MMA can do. MMA cannot move or breathe. His last attempt is to do a drop at the planetary over here, and he will force SCVs off the line, but that is the last of Keen's concern right now.
He could kill the base and Keen wouldn't care.
No, he would not, and he will not kill it. He is cleaned up. He's like one of his 8 forces that are all bigger than MMA's army does decide to destroy that drop.
The army supply is now heavily in favor of Keen with 50 army supply advantage, 136 against 86.
Yep. Keen basically just trying to force MMA to accept reality at this point. I mean, he's not even being as aggressive as he could be in the main base. Now he's starting to do it.
MMA is still fighting, no surrender. There is just no...
He's going to attack into a planetary.
Yeah. He's trying to take it down, and he's trying to fight for his code S spot. At this point, I would have a hard time coming to terms with how things are. The planetary dies, the 4th base is gone, and Keen is now trying to catch these units. 4,000 minerals, 2,500 gas.
He's a slippery snake with this small squad.
Oh yeah, he
is.
It's
so hard to catch it. It looks like it may finally be captured. MMA's last run here may finally be over. Keen dashing in with 3 Marines. He has too many, even with the planetary, even with the siege tanks. MMA is all but used up. GG. Keen will advance to Code S.
Very well played. Keen advances. No celebration.
No celebration, a rough best of 3 for him, but he definitely was the better player in the end of the day.
Yeah, he definitely was. Today, I have to say, Keen played very well. Game 1, he was a bit shaky. In Game 2, he played excellent. In Game 3, it definitely had its moments. A great best of 3 in total, and MMA really disappointed here. And yeah, well, I don't know. It's not like MMA played bad, but today, as you already pointed out, Keen just looked like the better player.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. His positioning, his decision making, his aggression. MMA could never keep up with it. He looked like he wanted to go into a mech composition even in the 3rd and final game, but he switched into Marine Tank out of just feeling more comfortable with it, I feel. And he just was never able to get that foothold on the map. He was always on the back foot. He was surrounded on all sides. No matter where he tried to drop, he was shut down again and again and again.
When Keen actually crushed the force of MMA, with which he tried to put some pressure on, and then took his 3rd base, this was basically where the game was going downhill for MMA. He lost so many SCVs before it, but he had a strong army, and he used it very, very well in order to pressure Keen, in order to put some aggression on, make sure that he could not take a 3rd base. But he was so far behind with his 3rd, he didn't even have the command center for the 3 SCV production. He fell behind in the work account, and this was just very hard for him to come back.
I feel like Keen is like an unrefined version of Supernova's TBT. Supernova's TBT is very often like this, aggressive with Banshees.
Actually a really good point. He's really aggressive.
Really aggressive with Banshees, but then with Marine Tank, he's like the most aggressive Marine Tank player there is. He's like arguably more aggressive than Marine King in TBT with his Marine Tank. And this is a composition that a lot of Koreans are saying are better. It makes certain commentators really upset when people are going Marine Tank instead of mech, but I think the more I watch Koreans play Marine Tank, the more I am convinced it's actually better. I can go out and say that. I still actually think mech might be the better composition, but the way that Marine Tank is played against mech, I think it may be better. It has more options, it's more mobile, and if you play mech perfectly, if you are a machine, if you are a god, then I guess you win every time, but there are no gods in StarCraft. There are only players. There are only humans.
So you think Flash is going to mech?
We will see. We will see.
Indeed we will. And our next map is going to be Atlantis Space Bear. We have Creator Prime against Maru Prime coming up in about 5 minutes. We have a quick break and then we'll be back with the GSL Code A, Calder Wolf, and our 2 Prime players.
Oh, nice. More zealots.
You could be my it girl. Damn, you got me whipped, girl. Loving you could be a crime. Crazy how we fit, girl. This is it, girl. Give me 25.